Hello and welcome to West Texas VA Healthcare System's Vital Signs Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Cole, the Chief of Communications here at West Texas VA. And with us today is Miss Traci Taylor.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. We're going to be talking about whole health. And I know a lot of you out there thinking, oh, what is this, whole thing about whole health? And, we're changing the whole healthcare. And it kind of is, but for good reason. And that's why we have Traci here to talk to us today. To tell us a little bit about what whole health is, what is available for our veterans out there, and why is it so important. So, Traci, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been working here at VA?
Been here about 8.5 years.
Okay, and you've been doing whole health for?
A little bit more than that.
Okay.
Give or take, yeah.
And what does whole health mean for our veterans?
Whole health is a cultural change within the VA, and the idea is switching the question from what's wrong with you.
Oh, there's a lot. None.
There's a whole list, right? To what matters to you. And that is really a whole different conversation when you think about coming to see any healthcare provider, anybody in the VA. If you're asking or answering questions that have to do with what's important to you, that's a very different conversation than
what's ailing you.
Yes.
And, I have had a few shorter conversations with my provider here. And the way it was explained to me, when they did ask that very question, what's important to you? And I'm like, well, my 6 grandkids. Mm-hmm. I'm 55, and when I turn 65, or if I should make 65, my life's been a train wreck. So these folks have their work cut out for them with me. But anyway, the point is, let's look at what's going on today. What can you start implementing in your life today that will help you have better outcomes down the road?
Right.
So I want to be able to run around with my grandkids when I'm 65.
And that's an excellent health goal and something to plan for the future. It's a lot easier to say, maybe these are some things that you might be interested in, or what are you interested in that could help you meet these health goals, instead of you really need to exercise more. Because which are you more inclined to do? You're going to exercise more, or you're going to work on doing more with your grandkids? Well, probably the grandkids, even if the end result is the same, that you walk or exercise more.
Right. So it's going to kind of a different motivating direction. I like to get out mountain biking. I like to get out on the bike and run around. I can't run like I used to, obviously. But one of the other big things that came up is and tell me, and maybe this is a change in the whole healthcare method of practice. The docs and the nurses actually sit down and make sure you understand what you're looking at. Because you come in, you get your blood work done, you get this big long list of stuff. You know how much of that makes sense to me?
Probably not a lot.
Nothing. But then they took the time to sit and say, okay, look at your A1C. You're not diabetic yet.
Right.
But
could be in the future.
You're for me, it's pre-diabetic. I'm beyond what is considered the healthy range, and I'm starting into that. Mm-hmm. And they're like, well, you need to change your eating habits. You need to exercise more, those sorts of things. So that's kind of what whole health is, right? Looking to the future and saying, let's not get to the point where you're coming in.
Exactly, to prevent some health issues that you might have and just live overall a healthier life. Because whether you're 30 or 50 or 80, there's things that we can do to feel better and to meet the health goals we have. And sometimes it's just as simple as figuring out what those are and acknowledging that we have those.
So a lot of it from my perspective, from a recipient's perspective, is education. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of that, right?
There's a lot of education in whole health. There's a lot still for our folks that work within the VA. This is a big change.
Sure.
And so it's not a program per se. It's a transformation, as we say in the VA. But what we're doing is working to implement whole health in a lot of different areas. people are interested in a battlefield acupuncture for pain management.
Sure.
It's something that's not a medication, but it's different, and it actually helps with pain.
So that's one new venture.
That's one new
under this.
venture. Mm-hmm.
But what other kind of things under the whole health umbrella are available for our veterans? What should they be asking their doctors for?
They could be part of it is just asking to be seen as that person. They can start out by doing something simple like filling out a personal health inventory, which is available online, or we have nurses who can help them with that. And then that helps to communicate with the providers to know that what is important for them. It might be that we approach things a little differently. You just said that you like to ride a bike. Maybe if we're working together routinely, we can work on that a little bit more. Maybe you'd be willing to ride your bike 1 or 2 more days a week or a month, but maybe you're not quite ready to leave off extra dessert quite
Especially Girl Scout cookie season.
And we're not going to talk about Girl Scout cookies because that's off the table.
But you don't want to know how many boxes I've been through. It's a lot more riding I'm going to have to do to make up for that.
There you go. But we want to just approach you in a way that is helpful for you. And, maybe some folks can't ride a bike, but they're interested in exercising more. Maybe exercising with their grandkids, taking them to the park is a way that they can
get some steps in and take a walk
and feel better.
Yeah. And I know there are a ton of resources out there.
There are. Health Promotion Disease Prevention, for instance, is starting to offer personal health inventory or personal health planning, and it sounds very important, but what it is pretty simple. Talking with the veterans and kind of helping them walk through their own questions. There's other classes like Move, the nutrition offers, to eat better and to feel better overall. We've got a couple of classes that are fixing to start, Gateway to Healthy Living, that folks can participate in as little or as much as they're interested in.
And would these be in person? Can we do them remotely? What's, given the whole situation with COVID and everything?
With COVID and everything, almost all are remote or virtual, which is great because then you can be sitting at home or on your lunch break to visit with someone, or if you don't have time to attend a class, to talk with someone, or vice versa. You're not comfortable one-on-one, you'd rather attend a class. So
and are there any apps available? I know VA's got a ton of apps out there coming out. So
we have amazing apps, and there's one. Can I mention?
Sure.
VA Calm, and it helps with meditation and stress relief, and then your PAC teams have different options as well that they can hook you up with. Yeah.
Cool.
Home telehealth has a lot of great options, and they all include pieces of whole health in them.
And a lot of our vets out there, as we were going through the whole COVID vaccination clinics, we were handing out these whole health calendars, which have great little tidbits every day, every month to kind of keep you on that track. And a lot of folks out there, they keep their calendar on their iPhones and all that now. But, I was really amazed at how many folks, when they saw this, were actually interested in grabbing one and putting it up. And we still get feedback from our vets saying they love this. They love that it gives them that little reminder, that little hint that says, okay, add some water to your diet today, drink, add an extra bottle of water today, or cut back. Here's what I got to cut back on. See?
I'm sure that's health water.
It's
for sure.
My doc is going to wring my neck when he gets me in his office next time.
For sure.
So if someone wanted to reach out and talk whole health or any of the efforts that are underneath whole health, where should they go? Who should they talk to? How do they get in touch with y'all?
They can start with the PAC team and ask for that information on whole health, and even better, HPDP or the MOVE program, or that they're just interested in, they want to eat better. That helps the nurses and the clinics figure out, where is it, what are they wanting and what's best for them to get started.
So they can start with their PAC team, but they don't necessarily have to, correct?
Nope, they do not.
Any of these resources under Whole Health do not require a consult. Correct?
Oh, right. Absolutely.
So
They can call us directly.
she and Tracy mentioned HPDP. We affectionately call them Hippy Dippy. So if you remember that, and you come into West Texas VA, and you can come into any of our locations, any of our facilities, and just say, hey, I want to talk to Hippy Dippy. They will get you in touch with Tracy and her team and get you the information you need to start making those incremental steps. Because let's face it, some of us have been doing some pretty interesting things for a lot of years. We didn't build this overnight. We're not going to unbuild it overnight.
That's
and
right.
so it's going to take time. It's going to take persistence, and it's going to take a lot of support and effort. And that's what Tracy and her team are here to do.
That is what we're here to do. And we just like to encourage folks that even if you're not quite ready to say, oh, yeah, I want to participate in a class or I want to talk to somebody every week or something like that, these little changes are important. And we can even just send a link to multiple sources that they can work on their own if that's their preference, on recharging and how to sleep better, and just some ideas that maybe you hadn't thought about.
Awesome.
Make you feel better.
Well, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming in and talking to our veterans about Whole Health and the resources that you and your team bring. We can't do it alone. We can't do it by ourselves. None of us, all of us veterans out there have always been part of that camaraderie, that group. This is what our team brings to us. So join us again next time. We're going to have some more on Whole Health coming up in the coming weeks. Reach out to Hippy Dippy, Tracy, and the team. Thanks for joining us on Vital Signs Podcast. We'll talk to you again next week.